Honourable Speaker, sir, I fully appreciate the honourable member's concerns. Yes, we did come with a bill on 3rd March 2020, and subsequently an ordinance was passed because the session was not on to consider the bill, discuss the bill and then pass it. And why did the ordinance become a necessity? We were going through a pandemic and there was stress in several of the cooperative banks, and as a result of which it was felt that till we clear the bill, there shouldn't be a situation that many of the cooperative banks would suffer, and therefore we brought in an ordinance in the place with the essential features of the bill which was tabled in the House in March, and therefore the ordinance was necessitated and duly considered and given the consent by the Honourable President. But now, why are we coming for withdrawal of the bill? I'm very appreciative of, through you, of the Honourable Member raising this question, which is absolutely right. This will be a question which arises in the minds of the people, but now what we are bringing, after withdrawing that bill which came into the form of an ordinance, is essentially what the bill of March 2020 had, together with a few things added in, such as giving the Reserve Bank a chance to be able to restructure any distressed cooperative bank just in case they are in severe distress. And I can give you the data of the number of banks, cooperative banks, which are in distress, so that without putting them on a moratorium, all of us know, all honourable members know here, as to when a bank is put in a freeze, the customers. Till today, the memory of PMC, and even today the PMC issue is getting resolved. We do not want a situation where banks, because of being held in a frozen situation, customers are being put to a difficulty. And I wouldn't think it's out of place for me to here remind, through you, Honourable Speaker, to all the members, the way in which the Reserve Bank sorted the problem of Yes Bank. Will tell you how, within a short period, reconstruction of the bank was made possible. And that was because it was a commercial bank, whereas cooperative banks, unfortunately, don't have that, situation which can help them to quickly resolve. So what this bill, which we are bringing in the place of the original bill, essentially having all the features of the original bill, but not exactly the same, because that, together with a few things, are being added so that citizens, depositors do not face similar situation as is arising out of the PMC problem. So cooperative banks can also benefit from it, and therefore I would like you to, through you, appeal to the member to allow passing or consideration and passing of this bill, and kindly request him to withdraw his objections.
प्रश्न ये है कि विधेयक को वापस लेने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हैं वह हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में नो तो आप कर रहे हो, लेकिन उस विधेयक को पूरा तो पढ़ो। वो इस देश की जनता के हित का विधेयक है।
Sir, I introduce the bill.
Item number 13, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman.
Sir, I wish to move for leave to introduce a bill to ensure financial stability and provide and promote competitiveness in the financial markets by providing enforceability of bilateral netting of qualified financial contracts and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto.
प्रश्न है कि विधेयक को पुनर्स्थापित करने की अनुमति प्रदान की जाए। जो सदस्य इसके पक्ष में हाँ कहें, जो सदस्य के विरोध में ना कहें। मेरे विचार में निर्णय हाँ वालों के पक्ष में हुआ, हाँ वालों के पक्ष में अनुमति प्रदान की जाती है। माननीय मंत्री जी, अब विधेयक पुनर्स्थापित करें।
Sir, I introduced the bill since 1965, and this bill actually only seeks to extend the applicability so that some of the banking regulation laws are also going to be applicable to them. Why was this necessitated, sir? Because cooperatives, first of all, the state cooperative laws are not being proposed to be amended, not at all being touched. The state cooperative laws, if only Professor Saugata Roy can listen rather than get distracted by other factors, state cooperative laws are not being proposed at all in this amendment, if that is clear to him. So the other thing is, in this amendment, what we are trying to do is only to look at those cooperatives which are using the word bank and therefore are receiving deposits and dealing with deposits, and to that extent, the legislative competence of this House is absolutely well established under entry number 45 of the Union List. Regulation of banking also comes under the entry number 43 of the Union List. Further, as per clause 2 of this bill, it would apply only to those cooperative societies which use the words bank, banker or banking. So this is not anything to do with all cooperative activities of a cooperative institution. It is only restricted to those activities which come under the name of bank, banker, banking that we are trying to regulate under the entry 45 of the Union List. So the competence is very well established. And we are very clearly saying we are not looking at the states, we are state cooperative laws. That will remain wherever it is, we are not touching them. So that is one thing, sir. The second is, there is a legal challenge in some court, so this House cannot deal with it. Let's first of all understand that there is no interlocutory relief which has been provided in the court, and therefore there are no other direction also given by the court in the matter against the operation of this ordinance. So that's the second point which Honorable Member Shashi Tharoor raises, that it is in the court and several times you have referred to matters being sub judice. Here there is nothing at all which is stopping us from going ahead with the ordinance. So then one other point which was made was devoid of potential benefits and lacking inputs from the standing committee. A number of cooperative banks have weak financials. Without taking much of your time, sir, I would just like to highlight the number of such institutions which are in a precarious condition. I know, and I repeat, haven't we had calls from all sections of this House saying as to why the PMC bank matter doesn't get sorted out at the earliest? Why can't we do something about it? Because depositors are really suffering. So what are we trying to do? And look at the number of institutions which are cooperative and in weak financial situation. 277 urban cooperative banks reporting loss. 105 urban cooperative banks unable to meet minimum regulatory capital requirements. 47 having negative net worth, and 328 urban cooperative banks having more than 15% gross NPA ratio as of 2019 March. So we need to have depositors protected. And this protection, this bill aims at protecting the depositors about whom all of us individually are concerned, and we represent saying, please sort out their matters at the earliest. This is what we've come here with for. A number of cooperative banks are weak, I've established that. And to protect depositors and public interest, early legislation is required. I seek your assistance, Honorable Speaker, sir.
प्रश्न है कि विधेयक को प्रस्ताव श्री कलानिधि जी नो
pay homage at this point to Anita and 11 other students who have committed suicide because they were not able to enter into NEET. As the previous speaker had mentioned that we have different forms of school education, I would like to say that a level playing field is needed for any person to enter into any professional courses, sir. As long as you have different syllabuses for school education, I feel it is unfair that you have a NEET exam. So I request that this NEET exam be abolished, and till you start either CBSE schools throughout the country or you have a common system of education for all plus 2 students. By not providing a level playing field, you are depriving so many of the backward and socio-economically deprived people from entering into the medical curriculum. I am also surprised when most of the countries are in the process of evaluating alternative sources of medicine, like homeopathy and Ayurveda and Unani, Siddha, and all these things. I am surprised that we are not doing enough research into these things to see if these things are really relevant and whether they are really working. Because when you look at homeopathy, there is a lot of claims that it acts as nothing other than placebo. I am sure that the Honorable Health Minister will agree on this, that there are a lot of controversies. To dispel this controversy, I feel that we should have adequate research into all fields of medicine. And similarly, we also have this Indian pharmacopoeia, sir. So when we have the allopathy, the so-called allopathy having the Indian pharmacopoeia, whether all the other medicines are also tested and whether efficacy of these medicines are proven and then accepted by our country and the pharmacopoeia and then provided to the people is questionable, sir. Sir, one last point, sir. We have to say that during the around 3 centuries back, when all these medicines were evolving, allopathy was very, very backward at that point in time. But today we don't prefer to be called as allopathy, sir. We would prefer to call ourselves as modern medicine, or more recently we call ourselves as evidence-based medicine, sir. When we talk about evidence-based medicine, the amount of research which is being done and proven across all our colleagues is convincing, where this medicine is accepted the world over. I am sure that there are umpteen number of patients who are being treated by homeopathy, sir. There are lakhs of doctors and crores of patients who are being benefited, but we don't know whether these are really effective or acting as a placebo. So I request the Honorable Health Minister to make sure that adequate research is done before any treatment is given to the people, sir. Thank you very much.
माननीय मंत्री जी, कुछ बोल तो दिए आपने, सारा विषय तो ऐसे तो
सर ये